Oh, today's Monday. I love Mondays. And so because now I've been going to the gym with Taylor earlier in the morning, we've actually already done that. So today was legs, and it was my first time that I was feeling that I could push pretty decently without actually having like any sort of like abdominal pulling or anything like that. So that was pretty sick. But today we're going to be talking about something very interesting because we are going to revisit the day that I almost decided to call it quits on posting on social media altogether. I'd be lying if I said that I didn't come close because it was pretty bad. And yes, it has to do with Will Tennyson. But first things first, it is Monday, which means I have to go send my check-in pictures to Marcello. So we're gonna do that before I eat. And also, before we eat, let's go weigh ourselves. I guess we're just gonna sit around 240 now, which is perfect. So on Mondays, as always, I have to send Marcello my check-in pictures, so we're just gonna run through the poses quickly. For those who wonder why I post so much, it's because I still managed to mess it up like here where my legs are way too close together. And let's compare this side picture compared to 10 minutes earlier when I actually got it right. I have to say I'm really excited to get the back surgery done because when my back gets with the loose skin and these flanks get removed, it's gonna pull up the skin from my butt too, which means that I'm going to have a lot less loose skin when I do my back butt poses. Now I'm gonna give you guys some context as to what had happened. And it was the first Will Tennyson video that we had posted did really good. And although it was extreme, everybody seemed to be okay with it. There was some comments on there that were a little bit not great and people were judging my 12 liters of water intake, but that was kind of it. On the second video that came out, which was the one that Greg Doucette did his review video on, that's the one that really messed me up. And it's because I think that most people sort of forget that it's a real person on the other side of the screen. So when they say stuff, they don't really realize the impact that that could play, especially when it's not someone that's been exposed to a large social media audience yet. In my case, I must have had by then probably what? 25 or 30,000 followers, and it was very just only weight loss centric. So there wasn't that much hate yet. There was a few comments on Instagram here and there, but nothing to the scale of what I experienced. And so I guess this video is going to turn into a reading your mean comments style video. To the office. First off, I do have to say that this edit was incredibly cool to see the first time.
This is Simon. The last time we saw him, he lost 100 pounds. Now, just a few months later, he's down another 50, turning an amazing transformation into the craziest one-year transformation on the internet.
The video started off, well, pretty aggressively, and the comments started rolling in because of the one famous scene that everybody seemed to hate so much. And as you guessed it, yes, it was this one right here, where I showcase my peptide regimens. And I think that the issue with this was so simple, and that it was just that people completely misunderstood what a peptide actually is, because there is nothing on that table that is not a peptide. It's not like I was hiding the TRT either. I spoke about it. So many of the comments are relating to this, which we'll go through later, but I feel like it's still important for me to talk about the simple fact that when it comes to peptides, I'm going to make myself bigger for this because I feel like it's an important point to make. That when it comes to peptides, a lot of these are available through oral sources. I just have Crohn's disease. I can't absorb well at all through my GI tract. So guess what? I'm taking injections because the bioavailability is actually good this way. If I were to take most of these in pill forms that I could do, I'd only be absorbing like 10, 15, maybe 20%. At which point, what's the point of taking that many pills if they're not doing anything?
Up next, Simon's daily supplement protocol, which is a little more extensive than most people's.
So the next part of the routine looks like we're at the pharmacy.
Yes, and since you're following my day,
Yeah.
right, you'll be taking every single one of these, right? Correct?
I mean, I prefer to take things that alter my reality, not my natty status.
Do peptides make you not natty though? We're gonna start with tesofensine in this house with. And before we get into the comments, I feel as though there's one more line that I said that really pissed off the peasants. So me, because I have Crohn's and I'm taking a very aggressive medication that hurts my liver and hurts my organs, this has got my blood work so good And like people will say, oh, you're not natty, you're not this, you're not that. Why would I want to be natty when I can be healthy? I had to wear gauze between my butt cheeks for the last 4 or 5 years because I was constantly bleeding. I don't have to do that anymore. Wow. This is definitely. It's hard for anybody that hasn't been through any sort of autoimmune disease to know how bad it can actually get. And in my case, it was horrible. Like I can't even put into words, but like to understand what it's like having to wear gauze between your butt cheeks, because if not, you're bleeding and then it shows through your pants, or like the fact that I had to obviously like, you know, stick it up there. And if I didn't, it would get itchy and it would hurt so much. Oh God. I will say it. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Why would I be natty when I can be healthy? But now let's start going through the comments. Before I even go through the comments, I think it's important to notice as well that there were some really nice and positive ones in there. And I haven't looked at these in a very long time. And when the video first dropped, I was in this such weird space that I felt horrible about myself, about everything, to the point where I was sort of not even acknowledging the good ones and I was only reading the bad ones. So that's probably going to be a thing now that I'm realizing it. And I mean, here in the top comments, I was so distraught by all this that I ended up making the comment here to everybody talking about the injections. Would you rather me just hide it in the dark like the other fake natty influencers, or at least be honest about my routine? So I think that I was so distraught that I felt the need to talk to people about my reasoning behind my decisions, when realistically, I didn't really owe anybody any explanations. So let's start going through these comments. Addiction happens in many ways. Looks like he went from food addiction to a serious obsession with weight. I mean, I was getting ready for a bodybuilding show. I don't know what to expect here. I wasn't going to show up not in shape, first of all. But second of all, I think that anybody that is going to come from a very heavy extreme, like I was close to the 4s or even higher than that, you sort of need to get a little obsessed with it. And if you're not, you're probably not going to go all the way, because you'll get to a point where you allow yourself to go back. And that's happened to so many times. Now, of course, this is not in one size fits all answer, but for me, I knew that I could not do moderation. I had to go all in, and it was the only way that I was going to achieve it. To each their own. Props to this guy for being transparent about the things he's taking. It's so rare to see in the fitness industry. I remember one of the answers to this one, and it bothered me so much. It was, yeah, congrats to him and everybody else sharing the stupidities they do on the internet. Such humble, much inspiration. Wow. I think that bothered me because at the time I was also just like pumped with the fake natty content, and it was bothering me so much when it was, to me, so clear that some weren't. And I was just trying to be honest, but you know, some people didn't like that. And this is my favorite comment, and it comes up many times after, but it was from one extreme to another. And like I mentioned before, some people need it. For myself, I knew that I absolutely needed it. It was the only way that I was going to succeed. And this is why, and it was from this one right here, from one extreme to another, that I started answering people, moderation is for the average, which is where that entire motto for the Phase 2 clothing line that's going to be coming out came from. So I do have to say, YouTube consumer, I very much appreciate you. You know what? We're going to take this one for the thumbnail. Oh, this was good. Dude looks like someone who doesn't know the word moderation. Hope this won't end in a bad way. Well, 2 years later, we're good. You know what? We're gonna... Oh, I already... 2 months ago, I answered. 2-year update. It ended great. Oh, this was one that bothered me back in the day. It was, dude replaced his addiction with food with PEDs. This one, for some reason, hit me so hard because I felt as though it had put the entirety of my journey down to one sentence, which was that I was now a complete drug addict due to the fact that I was taking peptides, without ever acknowledging the fact that my mindset behind it was actually about healing my Crohn's disease by whatever means necessary so that I could step on stage at the best. Now, of course, some of the things like IGF-1, LR3 was just purely for muscle retention and muscle growth, testosterone, but at the same time, every single peptide that I took had some sort of effect on my Crohn's disease. And I made a whole video that was called I Tried Every Weight Loss Drug, where I went through every single one and their effect on my Crohn's disease. I remember seeing this one. This man is not scared of needles. And after 8 years of post-secondary education in the medical field, thank God, as that be awkward, this got scary quick. Oh, and this one. A few times I swear I could see Will getting genuinely frustrated with him. I can confirm he wasn't. He was a little bit shocked at first when I was telling him about the routine. But the thing is that a lot of the video is actually, like, a lot of the footage that we took never made it into this video. And of course, when the editor edited the video, it was to be very shock factor, right? That was like the whole point of this video, was how crazy can we make this look? Which, I mean, he did a pretty good job seeing these comments, right? On this one too, I don't think he realizes how mentally unhealthy he is right now. That is not normal. Okay. This is actually a comment that hit me for the wrong reasons. And it was because I was very combative of it. Because now reading it back, I agree. I was definitely not in the best of places back then, just because I was so tunnel focused. But at the same time, and I will say this a million times, this is what worked for me. And I told even at the end of the video that I don't think anybody should actually follow my routine. More so take some bits and pieces, learn from it. But what I did is completely borderline psychopathic. And it was the only way that I was going to do it. And also this one. My parents helped me with my food bill, was all I needed before I realized he was going to the gym 3 times a day. I think there was this such crazy misconception of what people thought was going on there. Because yes, my parents were helping me obviously pay for the food. I would move back in with them and stuff. But I think it's important to know that I wasn't just sitting at home doing nothing. I was in the process of building multiple businesses, because that I had very clearly presented to them before agreeing to anything. And if anybody has ever tried to post on social media every single day for a year, it is so hard. Although it looked like all I was doing was going to the gym 3 times a day, I was waking up at 5 a.m. and I was going to bed at like 11, 12 every single night, where I was working in my bed still. And then, I mean, look, you can really see that there's like most of the comments sort of follow the same theme, where hope this guy gets a bit smarter, otherwise feels like this is going to end up bad. Hope I'm wrong. I can't see this story ending well. This guy is killing himself, just in a different form than from before. Crazy. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see this as a success story. And like, that's too extreme. He lost weight, but did not learn moderation. Moderation is for the average. And to be honest, it wasn't, I didn't like, I felt bad reading a lot of these comments, because I was literally sitting there like the entire day just refreshing, reading. And you can see how that can be pretty toxic. There is one thing that bothered me the absolute most about everything. And it was simply that my parents were going to read this. That's the only reason I actually cared, because I didn't want my mom seeing this and like, oh, he's going to die if he keeps doing this. I didn't want my dad to see this and be disappointed. And guess what? They did end up seeing it. And that was a very, very awkward night. And they were very unhappy with that video. And it got to the point where I was questioning, like, sweet, did I just completely ruin myself on the internet? Because that was the first time I would say that I had received that much sort of like concern and big brackets here, or hate in any format. And you can imagine how that can hit somebody, getting that many comments of people saying he's gonna die, he's an idiot. And if you go through those comments, there's a lot of bad ones. There's a lot of just mean comments. It took me about a whole week to even like come back and just keep posting from it. Like the next few days were so autopilot that I didn't post anything on YouTube. I didn't post, I think on Instagram, I even took a break because I felt so shitty about myself. And that could have ended very negatively just because of that amount of social pressure that was just put on me. So I think that, and I even messaged Will after that video came up where I was like, bro, I'm panicking here. Let's see if I can actually find it. Damn, it was on my old phone. All this is really just to say that you can never forget that it is other humans behind the camera. And unless they're actually being like a big piece of poop and they're like intentionally hurting other people, I think that people should just be a little bit more mindful of what they type on the internet, because you can never know what it's going to do to somebody. Like for me, for example, it took me a week to come back. But let's say it's somebody that's a bit earlier in their weight loss journey, and some of the Instagram comment sections aren't necessarily very nice to them. You can imagine what that could do, and that could completely either stunt their progress or get them to quit entirely. And we've seen it online where it's happened. So I think that I'm going to finish this video with the last scene that so few people actually saw, because the usual average user retention is quite low, which is probably funny that I'm doing the same thing at the end of my video, but I think it's something that just still needs to be repeated. And I think if there's something that people need to be left with, is to really enjoy the journey, because that is the best part. For the influencers, I would tell you that you have no idea the power that you hold by simply answering a message. When I got Will Tennyson to send me a message and you said, and I quote, "When you lose your 100 pounds, let's come down and we'll film a video." That to me was such a fire under my ass, and it gave me something tangible to work to. I'm probably gonna regret this saying this on video, but that's the reason why I answer every single DM. I still try to do that, but it's so hard, and I get so many every day. And whenever I do, I'll burn out sometimes, and then I'll just won't check them for like 2-3 weeks, and then there's like 60 more like a day, and I was like, ugh. So if I have missed a DM from you, I'm terribly sorry, but I do try. Okay, I still try. Or I try to give them the same hope that you gave me. As for the people, don't copy me. What I did isn't necessarily what's right for you. Weight loss is an incredibly individualized journey, and you have to find what's sustainable for you. And by following cookie cutter programs or fad diets, the only thing you're going to find yourself is back to square one. It's back to square one.
Today, Simon achieved what many people would deem impossible. We've all encountered goals, dreams, or ambitions that seemed so far out of reach that even thinking about them felt like an exercise in futility. But let me remind you, the distance between impossible and achieved is bridged by one critical factor: your unwavering belief in yourself. The journey will test you. There's going to be moments of doubt, setbacks, and challenges that seem insurmountable. But remember, these are not signs that you should turn back, but rather proof that you're pushing beyond the ordinary. When the cards aren't dealt in your favor, remember it's not about the hand you're given, but how you play it that determines your success. And when it all comes together in the end, it's a beautiful thing.
Beautifully said, Will. So thank you all for watching this video. And as always, let's change the world together.